It's a privilege for me to be here this afternoon with Alex Carp, who's the CEO and founder of Palantir. This is one of the most remarkable companies that I would argue has been created in the last, call it, generation of tech, but a very different kind of tech company, not the kind of consumer Silicon Valley company that so many of us have become accustomed to. This was a company that was born in the aftermath of 9/11 to help the U.S. government initially try to track terrorists.
Hey everyone, Couch Investor back to another video for today. So let's talk about Palantir. It's been a while since I've covered this stock. So right before earnings, I like to revisit some of these companies. Plus we have some announcements that has been made more recently. So first of all, the stock is down around 74% from its peak. Last quarter was a bit meh, let's say, especially the outlook. We were expecting maybe a bit more growth, especially on the commercial side. But we're going to have a look at all of that, especially at the SBCs. Now, a quick revisit of the overall, let's say, financials here. So yes, revenue, as you can see, has gone up. The other lines here is the stock price. Now, it is free cash flow positive in the last 12 months, $225 million. Return on equity is still in the negative, close to negative 24%. And as we said, drawdown from its peak, close to 74%. Gross profit margin is high, 78%. And then the market cap. The market cap today sits at $20.83 billion with a stock price of 10.18. Now, if you remember back when it first went public, the stock price was just below $10 and the market cap was around $16 billion. Now, what does that tell you? Well, dilution. If somebody is telling you, no, there is no dilution here, well, there clearly is, because we started with around $16 billion in market cap. Right now we're $20 billion and the stock price is basically the same. Now, usually this might happen when the company is still extremely young, growing at triple-digit growth, etc. But Palantir is not new, it's not young, and we're still getting diluted a lot. SBCs are still extremely high, but they are trending down. So it remains to be seen what happens there, but do keep that in mind because that is a negative point that you should keep an eye on. Now, we had some couple of announcements, especially with regards to Google. Now, before I go into that, if you want to support this channel, do check out the link down in the description and in the pinned comment to get the top 10 best stocks to buy now, or go to fool.com/couchinvestor. Also check out all the other links in the pinned comment. Some of those might actually save you some money and are extremely useful. So first up, we have here Palantir and Google Cloud partner to power data-driven transformations in commercial industries. So that's great. Google Cloud, extremely big, now partnering up with Palantir, which obviously helps those businesses as well. We've seen Palantir invest in startups and then make them work together to increase value. Now, with regards to Palantir and Google. So they say here Palantir a leader in operational decision-making software, and Google Cloud. By the way, if you don't know what Palantir is doing, do check out my older videos on this company. I'll explain briefly what it is. So Palantir and Google Cloud today announced a multi-year partnership to support digital transformations in key commercial industries, including retail, financial services, and supply chain and logistics. Palantir Technologies is making Foundry. Foundry is the commercial side of the business for, well, the commercial. Gotham is for government. And then you have Apollo, which is basically for the infrastructure, the systems, and all of the deployments on those systems. To put it very, very briefly. So Foundry, it's fully managed SaaS platform available on Google Cloud and Google Cloud Marketplace, helping customers synthesize their data and address difficult operational problems head on. So what will happen when business deploy the Foundry platform on Google Cloud? They gain new data integrations, management, and business intelligence capabilities combined with the ease of running the Foundry platform on Google Cloud's global, scalable, and trusted infrastructure. Customers will also be able to leverage Foundry's capabilities with Google Cloud Cortex framework, making data-powered innovation scalable and repeatable. Now I'll go over this short example here so you get a bit more context. So a retailer, for example, will be able to implement Palantir Foundry's inventory management workflows alongside Google Cloud's recommendations AI forecasting capabilities to better predict when popular items will go out of stock and adapt to supply chain disruptions. Now remember, we talked about a company that already does something very, very similar called Revolve. I think I covered that a long time ago. I'll continue here, and by bringing together data on sales, inventory and promotions with Foundry on Google Cloud, grocers can reduce food waste, which is a major contributor to profit loss during everyday business operations. Banks, too, can use Foundry and Google Cloud together to better detect fraud and money laundering activities by bringing together transaction data, online activity, and fraud alert data in the Foundry platform, and then using Google Cloud's AI tools to analyze and search for anti-money laundering patterns in the data. So I hope that by now you understand a bit what Palantir and its Foundry platforms are doing. It's not replacing humans, which is something that is very important here. It is helping humans make better decisions with the data that they have in front of them. Very, very important to remember. Now, second announcement here is also Google related. So Google has introduced Google Public Sector just a couple of days after they announced their partnership with Palantir. So what do they say here? Today we're expanding this commitment in the United States with the creation of Google Public Sector, a new Google division that will focus on helping US public sector institutions, including federal, state, and local governments and educational institutions accelerate their digital transformation, which is obviously very, very good for the United States. And it's about time that big tech companies start helping their government, the government that helped them grow into those insane, huge big tech companies, which is something Alex Carp have talked about in the past a lot. These big tech companies are not helping the government, are not helping the military. They rather invest in a country like China, like Apple is doing, spending hundreds of billions of dollars investing in China instead of investing in the United States, in its military, in its defense. So it's very nice to see that Google finally is going into the right direction. Then some quotes I found on Reddit from the interview at Aspen Ideas Festival. This is Sorkin, the guy, one of the guys that also created Billions. You see him on CNBC, and then obviously on the left, Alex Karp. So two quotes here. I have no reason to pitch you on this, but our commercial product is the single best product in the world. People will not realize this for another couple of years. Well, I hope they will realize it soon because, well, investors are suffering here. My bag is pretty heavy from bag holding Palantir shares. And the second quote here is, I'm very bullish on Palantir, but it is because I know of no company in the world which actually ahead of time builds products which are useful, and we have 5 of the coolest products in the world. Now, this is all great, but again, with Palantir, the issue here, the product can be amazing, but they need amazing salesmen or women to sell that product. That has been a struggle in the past. Obviously, Alex also knows that they need to be better at selling their product. And then last couple of things here, the Army selects Palantir to build Titan program, competitive prototype. Titan is basically tactical intelligence targeting access node. So they'll be the first intelligent ground station enabled by artificial intelligence and machine learning. This is a $36 million contract award for the competitive prototyping phase that will span 14 months. And Palantir is one of the 2 companies awarded a prime contract. And last thing here is obviously the outlook for Q2. So they're guiding to a base case of $470 million in revenue. They expect adjusted operating margin of 20%. For the full year, they continue to expect adjusted operating margin of 27%, and per the long-term guidance policy as provided by Alex Karp, they continue to expect annual revenue growth of 30% or greater through 2025. Now I am going to jump to some SBCs and some sales numbers. So sales and marketing has increased from 2021 to 2022 in that quarter, which to be honest is normal because they do want to increase sales to increase, well, the adoption of their products. Research and development has actually decreased a bit, which was a bit surprising, but fine. I think they'll use that money into sales and marketing. Then G&A has been decreasing a little bit as well. Now, as for the stock-based compensation, you can see that when in 2021, that was $193 million. 2022 in that quarter, just under $150 million, which is still high, right? Which is still high, especially if you're just generating just under $500 million in revenue. So overall, do share your thoughts down in the comments below with regards to Palantir. Did you buy some? Did you sell some? Are you still holding? Leave it all down in the comments below. But that's what's been happening with the company lately. Again, this is a story that will probably develop in the years and years to come. Great management, great product, very, very difficult to understand. And it just needs better salesperson so that, well, more companies will use that great product, because you can have the best product in the world, but if you're not managing to sell it to someone, then it's useless, right? Then some other company might come in, copy that product, be better at sales, and then destroy you. Obviously, this is not happening right now, but it's just a, let's say, doomsday scenario. So that will be it for this video. If you enjoy this type of videos, leave it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, maybe hit that subscribe button, and I see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.